Welcome back, you guys. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest in football therapy, where I want to bring back the Chelsea Weekly series where we discuss some of the biggest talking points that I've dropped throughout the entire week. So if you guys want to see more collabs like this and more of this video series, don't hold back the love. Of course, get involved in the comments, share your thoughts and opinions, and hit that like button as well. If you want to see more of this series throughout the summer, I want to get over 2k likes. If you guys can do that for me, then I can do this for you. So without wasting any more time. So I think right now we have to talk about summer business. Todd Bowley's here. A lot of outgoings we're expecting to happen this season as well too. And we as fans are expecting a lot to happen. But I think maybe one thing that we have to maybe prepare ourselves for potentially is the fact that a lot of the deals done are going to rely upon players leaving first. How optimistic do you feel about our chances in this transfer window? And do you feel like Thomas Tuchel, where this will just be like a surgical thing done to the team? Or do you feel like there's opportunities here to upgrade now after being linked with players like Dembele, Koundé and others?
Yeah, in terms of philosophy, I think he's going to dig his heels in, I think, Tuchel, for better or for worse. We kind of got that inference from him doing press conference saying, look, it suits our players, and not just the ones that are leaving. He spoke about, I think, Jorginho, Thiago Silva, and players like that. I think he does like the 3-4-2-1 or whatever. So I think he's going to stay and basically maintain that. So in terms of a big shift, it would just be in personnel. In terms of attackers and outgoings, Nini, I don't want to sit on the fence too much, because I'm one of these people that have always maintained there's talent in all those players, right? There's Callum Hudson-Odoi, even now, his chances created per 90s pretty wild. And Tuchel does really think he's very talented. He's trusted him at both wing backs, both wings. I don't think he'll go, but a lot of fans have seen inactivity and just wonder and perhaps feel a bit frustrated that we didn't take that 70 mil buy option from Bayern. Pulisic has proven to be really explosive and effective in the Premier League. He is so high profile, what he does for the USA men's team. Ziyech, I think Ziyech is super unique. If you give him, the ability to cook, he could be excellent. He's such a unique profile in our squad. There's this in Werner, the workhorse that had show reels that pretty much. When I'm looking at Christopher and Nkunku, show reels, I'm having flashbacks to Timo Werner in that Leipzig shirt. So they're all very talented players. But in terms of being sold, you could kind of. I don't think Hudson-Odoi would go, but I could kind of understand if Werner, Pulisic, and Ziyech, really, those are the three for me. We won't lose Kai Havertz because of his profile, his ceiling, and his utilization. And then, of course, there's the great Lukaku question, which, I'd be keen to get your take on the attackers, but I don't know if you want to jump into Lukaku or not.
Yeah, I think obviously Lukaku, we'll get down to Lukaku in particular later on, but I do think maybe one concern I have for this window is that we have to sell first before we can replace them. And I do think maybe the one exception most probably is Ousmane Dembele, based on the fact that he's going to be available on a free at the end of the month. So I don't think that affects things too much. You're just literally offering a wage, signing on bonus fee, etc., etc. But for other positions in the team that we're looking to strengthen, it relies on a lot of players leaving. And I just think to myself, I feel like we've been in similar summers like this before, where we've always expected big things to come, especially last summer in particular, linked with a ton of great players, tons of big business, which didn't ultimately all land in the end, based on the fact that, for example, look at the left back situation. We've got 6 left backs on the books. You can barely get rid of anyone, and the best we can do most of the time is offer players out on loan. So I just think, based on the fact that we have new management at the club now, the fact that we know that we're not going to see any of the data analytical type of procedures done until maybe the following summer, once Bowley has all his new staff at the helms of the club. It does feel like maybe Tuchel's really giving us a hint towards what to expect for this summer in particular, where it's really about just replacing guys, and maybe next summer could be the summer to really focus on big upgrades to really help us mount a title challenge.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, just to reel off some ideas. So if we lose the 2 centre backs, Alonso looks likely, but then again, it looks likely Emerson's just going to come in to deputise behind Chilwell. James is back, even as P does go. Whether he's looking to Callum Hudson-Odoi to be that more offensive wing back than Reece James looking within essentially, and then you could argue the same with the midfield. Aforementioned Ampadu, Gilmore get a look in. Of course, Conor Gallagher as that sort of high octane option. He's already our player. We don't have to spend money. As well, a slight tangent is that, of course, there's 5 substitutions next season, so that's why Thomas Tuchel has probably reportedly has sat down with Conor Gallagher saying, yes, you will get game time, and even if that's like you start some games, but you always come off the bench. You're one of the 5 subs. You're always going to get, because you're high octane, you're energetic, that suits our game. You will always touch the pitch one way or another. And like you say, Dembele coming in, I still feel like we might want to flog an attacker just to get the wages off, and also they're not going to. That's another wide forward to take up minutes, and already none of them are happy with their minutes. So something's got to give there, So whether it's I still feel like I love Timo Werner in terms of I think his personality is great. He's infectious. He's his work ethic is top notch, and he has been useful in his own relatively niche ways on the pitch. But I feel like there's still such a great deal of value for him. He's starting for Germany. He's absolutely exploded in the Bundesliga before. He's shown he can do it. He's entering his prime. I think Chelsea could look to make a lot of money on Werner, I think. And, maybe we keep Pulisic for if Todd Bowley truly is that interested in expanding the American market with Clearlake, maybe you keep Captain America.
I agree. I think Pulisic is definitely a player I think has more to give. I feel maybe like in the fan base here in the links to Liverpool recently has maybe waken us up a bit, so maybe not give up on him too soon, because you know what's going to happen if he goes to play under Klopp.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's thinking, oh no, Pulisic under Klopp would be scary, and we'd have egg on our faces.
We look like the biggest dickheads in the Premier League.
Exactly, mate, the biggest dickheads, especially because of the Torres reverse, a 23-year-old Pulisic who matches the profile of Klopp, and has scored great goals against Liverpool and Man City, and has a huge profile as well.
That just can't happen, Jan. I can't see a situation where I'm seeing Pulisic cook for Liverpool and then that whole of the United States, and I'm just seeing them covered in red supporting Liverpool. Like, nah,
mate, it can't happen.
Just be too big of an L for me to even be able to even sleep at night, to be fair. But
I'm with you on that.
But I just think, going back to some of these outgoings, I think we're relying on like a lot of clubs who are maybe selling big name players and maybe come to our club to look at our options. I'm praying Newcastle with all their money at least try and sign someone from us. Put in a 40 mil bid for Kepa. I'll be okay with that. I'm looking at Dortmund. Maybe they're not as keen on Timo Werner now that a lot of these guys are on ridiculous wages. I mean, 280k a week on Werner is absolutely mad. To be honest, So it does feel like we could be affected by who we can actually sell, and I don't know. Am I being too cynical to feel like but to replace Lukaku, Werner, Ziyech?
No, not at all.
Guys like this in one window is realistic.
No, not you're being completely realistic. I mean, a lot of people were getting overexcited. Like, it's Ben Jacobs on Twitter spoke about how they've only just got in the building. They've only just had the sanctions lifted. They're going to have conversations first. Things. Everyone thought the sale of Chelsea dragged on, but it went at breakneck speed. There's no sale has ever gone that fast of that size. It's an unprecedented sale. So people are obviously itching because we just think it's a normal transfer window, and we just got that muscle memory of, oh, come on, let's go, but it's not going to happen. But you're totally right, man. In terms of players going out, they're high profile, they've got egos, they want to start at the highest level of a team, they want to get paid the same, they don't want to take pay cuts, and we put ourselves in a tricky position. But if we get one out, I feel like Timo Werner, even if he takes a slight wage cut, if he signs a new 5-year deal somewhere, slightly less wages, amortizes at a bigger price, a bigger package in the Bundesliga, maybe. But like you say, those wages are astronomical. I understand why we gave them to him, because Chelsea's, many clubs' ethos is, where goals come at a premium, you pay the most for goals. It's no surprise that both Lukaku and Timo Werner are our highest earners, because when we bought them, we were like, guaranteed goals both times, so we gave them those wages. But you're right.
It's a bit of a Mazda situation, to be honest. Let's see what happens with Bowley, but I just think, looking at things realistically, we know that they are going to spend time going to contract renewals, your Mason Mounts, Reece James, Mendy's, candidates, etc. Deciding on who's going to be a long term is one key thing. Then holding talks with the players as well about who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, working alongside Tuchel. I'm not really expecting anything really to happen during this month. I think maybe from the start of next month, maybe hopefully at the end of June at least, we really start to cook in the window now. But yeah, man, a lot to happen this summer. And I think right now, we end things with the final talking point, and we have to talk about Romelu Lukaku. So Jan, of course, the news came out this week, the big news that Lukaku is confirmed that he wants out. He has his lawyers in place right now. He's hoping to force back a move to Inter Milan, who are looking to try and make something happen here, with Lukaku being reported to be wanting a massive wage reduction to make the move happen. So I guess ideally now we're just hoping that Inter Milan have some type of money to be able to afford the loan fee. And at least 60-70% of his wages. So I mean, how do you feel about this situation? Do you feel like it's a bit of a sad one in the sense that maybe there's more life to Lukaku and we haven't done enough? Or do you feel like maybe it's simply down to the fact that he was never the right signing to begin with? And if we want to have a successful window, Lukaku is the number one guy whose future has to be decided. Because he can affect so much that happens with our business this window.
There's so much to say on this, Nini, mate. Like, massively disappointed. Like everyone, I was so gassed on that, announcement video with the Jay-Z, time, allow me to reintroduce myself. Like Lukaku, 28 in his prime, banged mad goals for Inter, won the Scudetto, won the MVP. Belgium's all-time top goal scorer, absolutely banging wicked goals for Belgium at the time. Over 100 Prem goals anyway. Like, he knows the landscape. He's always been a self-proclaimed Chelsea fan. He was interviewed by Sky Sports saying, as a Chelsea fan, becoming a legend would mean everything to me. We know, perhaps that was all a little bit of PR to a degree in terms of like the player himself. And by the way, like, is the situation, of course he isn't blameless. I'd argue he's the majority of the problem of the failure was him with the interview and then whatever, but he doesn't fit the system. Tuchel was given him an elite striker. Lukaku is an elite striker. I'm sorry everyone, that's you can't escape that. I absolutely
agree with you.
You can't escape that. Lukaku is a world-class striker, not one that's going to drop deep centrally necessarily and do your Harry Kanes and your Benzemas, but if you utilize him, turning the flank, working the channel, he's an absolute demon. And Conte saw that. That's why he wanted him. So he's world class at what he does with that. We don't do that. I think Tuchel once offered, he was like, yeah, I'll take him, and he got on the phone and was like, come to Chelsea, but he never said, this is what I need in my system, for example. And yet, yes, I do condemn Lukaku for the interview. I don't actually condemn him at the moment for trying to get the hell out of Chelsea. It's not because he's like, I want to stitch the Chelsea fans up. I hate it here. I hate them all. He's like, no, bro. I was king of the freaking world. And the iconic photo with the flag and winning the MVP and he wanted to be that guy. And I had no problem with him bringing that energy of being the guy, because I thought that's gonna help. That's gonna what we need. We've all got a bunch of pussies up front. We just haven't got that energy up there, and I thought he could bring that. But yeah, man, do you know what I mean? Of course he's trying to get out. Of course he's trying to get out, man, because he wants to go back to where he can do his thing again, and you can't hold that against him. He's gonna take a wage cut. He's gonna do this, that, and the other. I don't think I know this is a long answer, and you said, is it over? If, for example, I said this briefly to you on the phone, man, like, if we do get Ousmane Dembele, I looked at his scouting report on FB Ref, I looked at what he's good at, the top percentiles, and he's basically good at like crosses into the area, through balls, chance creation, big chance creation, touches in the area, link up, goal, shot creating actions, everything that a striker who if he's not running in the channel but is in the box and is a good finisher would want. Like, Ousmane Dembele would supercharge Romelu Lukaku. If we keep Lukaku and we get Ousmane Dembele, it makes you think, he needs to be given that chance. If we're playing against a team where you don't want Kai dropping deep and floating around, and you really just want to shake up the opposition box and score some goals, those two could cook together.
That's a mad point.
Yeah. I don't think he's not finished. Lukaku is a character who needs to feel loved and stuff, and he's come to a team who just won the Champions League with like a collective work ethic, and I wanted him to bring that, like, you know, big dick energy essentially, because I thought like Chelsea of big characters of old had that. I thought he could bring it, and you know, people
brought that
forget
limp energy instead, it seems. But
he scored, but exactly. But he scored, you know, like before the interview, after he did it, before he was published, he won like consecutive man of the matches or something, scoring a goal. So it could have worked, but because of how things have went, you know, I reckon there's an 80% chance he probably needs to go. But I don't want to say if he stays, he can't just be this bench warmer. We have to try and find a way for it to work. And
for sure.
But I feel like you know, it's a sad situation of how it's panned out. Yeah, I feel like yes, he needs to go. But I want to ask you a quick question.
Man.
What do we do if we do get Lukaku out, and in an agreeable way, like you say, where we don't get we're gonna get our pants pulled down, but maybe not as much as we you know it could be.
Yeah.
Do we look to bring in a Darwin Núñez, or do you look to Bruyere and Havertz, or what would you say?
I mean, it's a hard one, to be honest. You know, a lot of times people talk about strikers. There's like this mythical striker out there that exists that can kind of do anything and everything that will just fix the system. But you got to look at like the styles of strikers. You get your target men, you got your runners and behinds, you know, you get your advanced forwards, all those types of roles. You know, we all play Football Manager. We know how the game works. We know how football operates. And I don't know, I try and think what forward necessarily complements what we're trying to do, because I still even see games where maybe, you know, Kai Havertz, for example, isn't getting as many great opportunities in the game. And a lot of times, but most of the goals, I did like a reacting to all our goals scored last season. The guy scored mostly with his head compared to his feet. I'm just thinking, of course he can do that, but he wasn't signed exclusively.
But that's not his vibe.
That's
not his like primitive vibe.
That's what I mean.
It's because he's 6'2" and he's not scared to try and win a header.
Exactly. And it's just like, are we trying to make the world's best target man? I think Havertz is a lot more than that. So I definitely think that there's opportunities here for Tuchel to cook things up. Who knows? Maybe if we're going to stick with this back three setup, more players comfortable playing in the central areas. I think this is the only reason why Mount and Havertz are the ones that actually cook more consistently compared to everyone else. So maybe an Nkunku alongside Dembele, who can also play there, Havertz, etc. Could be an alternative. He knows there's a ton of clubs talking to him right now. We've been talking to him. We had interest for United, and who knows, maybe Varane going there as a return. There could be options.
What we need is like whatever the hell a Benzema is. We need like the next gen of that, you know, like they're so rare, like the Benzema.
But Benzema took a long time to be the Benzema he is. He can thank Mourinho for changing his game to be more of like that, like deep line forward player that really helped Ronaldo. And
a servant as well.
Over time, that's why he is how he is.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's almost like, he's not like a characteristic profile. He's what's it called, like a symptom of like the journey, like we said you know, earlier in the video, like you got to do something. He had to be, you know, Ronaldo's bitch for like a few years to learn about spaces, to learn about this, that, and then because he's just Galactico quality and kept developing, he's like, just that ruthless.
That's what I'm saying.
Always going to score. Like Diego Costa, I know he's not Karim Benzema, but he had that. I'm just always going to score. Like even though this game's crap, none of you are scoring. I'm just gonna, just out of sheer like stubbornness, I'm gonna scuff it into the corner. Like not like Wobber, it's like, you know, scuff it into the corner underneath the keeper. Like 1-0, 3 points. Thank you very much. You know, just.
Well, Diego Costa was actually a joker, to be fair. I remember the games where remember that thing he used to do on the ball. I know I'm going off topic, but like it was like he'd egg on opponents to come to him, and he'd just keep his hands out like a force field. Just doing it for absolutely no reason other than just be a dickhead on the fields. Basically.
Yeah, he's the master of it. The master of it. Yeah, like again, he had big dick energy up front. I'm not saying you need that kind of striker always, but you know, Kai holds his ground. I really like him. But like you say, there's something sort of magisterial and graceful about Kai Havertz. And I don't think you always want him like trying to win a header in the 6-yard box, like you said. So
I think he can do a lot more than that. I think on the TL was really funny watching like some of his old comps from his Bayer Leverkusen days. People were like, look at Havertz is putting in messy balls to runners in behind. And I've been saying, you know, this is what Kai can do. Kai can do a lot more than just be how we see him, like a wide playmaker and like a target man striker. If we have more like mobility inside the box, he's another guy that can pick up runners and does have great creativity. So I do, you know, just to wrap up this conversation, I definitely feel in my heart that there has to be maybe like a best of both worlds, because there's a lot of successful strikers playing out there that aren't necessarily all about just linking the play up all the time. And I don't really know what, to be honest. I think we're kind of like judging our striker situation in isolation. We're not really seeing things relative compared to how like the top strikers are used across Europe. I've heard talks of Harry Kane, but the only reason he works is because he has two speedy guys that make runs behinds, which we don't have. So this is what I mean.
We're not we don't play transitional football.
Nah.
And like transitional football is so effective in the Premier League. It's not the sexiest, and it might not get you like current Liverpool City, standards always like mid 90 points or whatever, but it is very, very effective to do at times. But I understand Tuchel doesn't want to do that. He wants to be philosophical, play the game in their half, have high ball turnovers. So if you're going to do that, you need a bit of magic in there, you need goal scoring midfielders. I think if we're going to do that as well, false nine, take the pressure off the striker to score the goals. Your eights, or even like both your double sixes, they need to have a goal in them. I think, it's personally.
I agree. And I think, maybe, looking back at Lukaku's time, I definitely think things didn't work in his favour. Missing out on creativity from both the wing backs at times didn't help. We had no pre-season. He had COVID, which kept us out a while. COVID affected every athlete in the Premier League. That is the worst illness to get. That's just killing your fitness. Yeah. And on top of that too, he also had an injury that kept him out for a month. So, considering, he didn't help himself, we all know that. But things also didn't work in his favour. 15 goals based on all these difficulties and still being our highest scorer is at least something from that. And as you're saying, Dembele, the stats, it could definitely complement. And I think we can't forget how many games have we seen where, listen, Werner was doing what we wanted to see up front, but didn't have that clinical finishing. Lukaku demonstrated at least this season that he doesn't need 100 chances to score. Give him 2-3 good ones. Most of the time it's in the back of the net. So whoever we sign up front to replace him, let's see what happens. Lukaku, at least he admitted, listen, from what I heard, him and Tuchel have no beef with each other. It's just
they want a
ideas.
resolution.
That's all it is. So I guess it makes them even more frustrating in that sense. But anyway, you guys, of course, what do you think about the points discussed in today's video? Of course, get involved in the comments. Tell us how you feel about the topics. And of course, Jan, plug away, my friends. Where can the people find you? What can they expect?
Man, Football Therapy on YouTube. Feel free to react to news headlines, give commentary on stories and stuff like that. So feel free to follow me on YouTube. Give me a follow on Instagram. I'm quite active with that at Football Yannick. And thanks for having me on, man. It's been
of course, man. Of course, you guys will find all the details in the card above and on screen. So on that note, I'm in EFC. This is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.